to the show. I'm your host, Fireball Texas, coming to you live from Circle City, Indianapolis, Indiana. For tonight's live stream, we're just going to have a little quick conversation regarding our league, just to give you people a little more information and explain how we came up with the system, even though EA said you can only have 32 coaches. With me, I have Bryce. Bryce is go ahead and say hello.
How we doing, guys? What's going on? UB here, UB Bulls, repping Buffalo. Not really, I just happen to
And
be close there.
explain
But
how we
yeah, we're
came up
gonna
with the.
kind of explain and really explain our new expansion here, which we also have Brendan here as well. Why don't you go introduce yourself, my man?
Yeah, I'm Brendan from Michigan, big Michigan guy. Go Blue, reigning national champs. And I'll be the admin commissioner for the Xbox League that we're getting going here. And so we're going to try and answer some of your guys' questions. I know you've been in my DMs and Matthew's DMs, and hopefully get your questions answered for y'all.
All right. Well, again, the whole reason for this today is just to give people a little more information on how we're going to do it. Now, we have two leagues that we started. We have one for Xbox that we just started. We have one for PlayStation. PlayStation's been around a while. We actually already have that filled. But we currently are still putting people onto our wait list. We don't know how many people are going to show up on day one when the rubber really meets the road. How many people didn't have, just thinking worst case scenario here, how many people don't actually have a PS5? I know we had a couple people sign up for Xbox, and we're going to figure that out very quickly when the game drops. So, if you have not signed up or if you didn't submit your picks, we will go ahead and just keep a running tally on our um, wait list. And we got a couple of people that are going to fill in because I'm pretty sure we have a couple of spots that are already gone for Xbox. But I do want to introduce our Xbox League as well. And that's really what we're doing today. And again, we know that we set up with this concept over a year ago. And when we did, Bryce can attest to this, that we really thought that EA wasn't going to go ahead and give us all 134 coaches. Really, we weren't going to try it if it was less than 16, but since they gave us 32, we found a way to work on that a little bit for everybody. So I'm just going to go through and we're going to go over how this is going to work. And first, we have 5 dynasties, and each dynasty, we in 3 of those 5, they have 32 coaches across 4 conferences. 8 teams a conference. You're going to play everybody in your conference, and then 3 other user teams. This is going to happen for Xbox as well. We'll get to how we're going to get the teams for Xbox, which is unique and something I don't think anyone else has tried. And we'll see what we can do with that. But as you see, it is broken down into divisions. You've got Division 1, which is going to be absolutely brutal. Not gonna lie, this is where the blue bloods go. You've got Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, Florida, Mississippi State. So you've got 8 SEC schools. You've got 8 Big Ten schools in Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Iowa, Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Michigan State. Um, then you've got a combination of the ACC and the former um, pack with a Big 12 school in there too. Oregon, Florida State, Clemson, Southern California, Utah, NC State, Washington, North Carolina. And then you've got what really looks like an old school Big 12 with Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas A&M, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Baylor. And then how we did this is based off of mainly based off of the most recent ESPN FPI. Um, that is what set the rank in these teams. And then overall, what separates Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3 are their most what they did during the last 10 years that we were missing the game. This is based off the appearances in the and average placement from the college football poll, which cuts out the early season. You guys can't hear anything.
What?
Uh, and
I have it up and I can hear it.
Okay.
It's just quiet.
Okay, well, I can change that. I was not sure. So, with that, again, to recap, Division 1 is going to be brutal. There are no off days in Division 1. Division 2 is where you get pretty much it's the remainder of most of the Power 5 schools. That's just how it wound up going. You do have a couple. You've got a couple of teams from Division 2. But let me go back over now that you guys can hear.
You said it's still very low. Oh, no, we're good now. We're good.
Okay, I don't want to
Yep,
blast
fix it.
everybody's eardrums. I think that's
No,
why I
you're
turned
right,
it down
yeah.
the last time.
Yeah.
All right. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. But we are going to go through this. And again, we have 134 players already signed up for our PlayStation Dynasty. We have still, I think, about 100 spots open on our Xbox. We just opened that up this week. And we're going to go through that. And Xbox is pretty interesting, the way we are going to select the teams. Again, we don't, in Select Talent, no one can pick a team. You're basically given a random assignment. We do take your feedback into it, so you're going to be able to put down which team you would want. But again, it's going to come down to a random chance if you get them or not. But again, going through this, what you see on the screen is how we have the teams broken down. Because EA said we could only have 32 conferences, then or 32 coaches in an online dynasty, we decided to find another way around that and are running one continuous group within 5 dynasties. Now we have a coaching carousel that I'll get to here momentarily, where you can, if you start off, you don't, let's say you don't get the team you want. Let's say you're from Michigan, using UM as an example, and that's who you want. I'm sure, Brendan, that's who you're looking for, but you don't get them in the draw. You get, your number comes up late, and you wind up getting. I'm just gonna say pick one. Say Central Michigan. Depending on how you do in Season 1, you have an opportunity to move up and go ahead, and if Michigan's coach falters, then you have a chance to grab that. Basically, we are going to take your preseason conference poll. If for any reason they don't include that in the upcoming College Football 25, we will just go off of overalls for the upcoming season. But we are going to, you're comparing your initial preseason poll with where you finish. So right now, it looks like from the majority of people, we're going to pretty much set this in stone. You have a plus or minus of 3. So let's say you have Michigan. Again, we're just using that as the prime example today. And it looks like here they are predicted to finish 4th. Let's just use that too. So if they're here
Which
at
is
4,
super low, by the way.
Well, it's off of FBI. Don't yell at me.
No, I know. I'm not telling you. They're finishing higher, though.
Talk to ESPN about this one, man.
They be hating on us.
Well, the good news is if you do have Michigan and you don't, let's say you draw Michigan, but you don't really want Michigan, you still have an opportunity to move up and get a different school. You can move. We don't have any restrictions currently between the group of 4 up to Division 1, so you could, in theory, grab like Kent State and then go ahead and take Ohio State. That's still on the table. But let's say Michigan finishes, it's minus 3. So if they were to finish 7th or 8th, then you unfortunately would not have that team. In fact, if you finish 6th, we have a provision where it's called the hot seat, where your team's protected the next season, but you have to meet or exceed your goal. So let's say you do great in recruiting, you just have a down year for whatever reason the game thinks, and that next season you're predicted to finish 1st. Well, that's your target. If you don't win the conference in that scenario, you're going to lose the team. The way that'll work, basically, we're going off of points, the number of plus minuses you have. So any team that's over 3, let's take a look down here at, let's say, UTEP, University of Texas El Paso. They're currently sitting 4th. If they were to win their conference, they would be plus 3. Winning your conference also gets you an additional 3 points. That's because if for any team that already starts off number 1, you have you have to get some reward for that. You have to be able to move up as well. Originally, we had it planned out where that was more to do with the playoffs, but since we're not going to be able to edit teams, that's where we came up with this system. It's not ideal, but it actually helps us out, and you play more games against actual people. With that, these teams are all pretty well balanced. There's maybe one or two that may be more difficult, easier than others, but if you do win your conference, you have the opportunity to move up. If you win back to back, you will be forced to move up. And if you win 3 out of 4 conference championships, you're going to move into that next tier. Unless, of course, you're D1. But I don't see how anyone's going to finish D1 undefeated. I just don't see it. What are your thoughts on this so far? From the chat, you guys here in the show as well.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be something like they're not going to see out there, a league that really incorporates all 134 teams. And we're learning with you guys, so there's going to be bumps and there's going to be things that we're going to have to change. But
season 2 is going to be a lot smoother than season 1. We already know.
Right.
I mean, if you before we even started Xbox, the original draft, dude, I think it's like a 4.5-hour soliloquy of absolute debauchery, bro. It was one of the most heart-wrenching things ever, because right after, me and him realized that we were reading off the wrong era. Area.
You could go back. I probably have already killed it. If I haven't killed it, I'm going to take it off quickly. You guys have about a day to find it. But basically, we had teams starting with a rank in. If I don't know if you're familiar with Google Sheets or Excel. Basically, we had rank 1, but that was after the title. So everything on rank 1 was actually on row 2, and so you can see how one little mistake halfway through, when we're trying to organize 134 people at once, that tend to get a bit messy. So we learn from our mistakes, and that is why Xbox is done different. So if anyone has an Xbox in our league, if you have both systems, by all means, feel free to go. And just a friendly reminder to anyone who signed up for the PS5 dynasty with an Xbox. The problem we're going to have there for you is you need to refill this application. And this is a doozy. But we've got a whole lot of information packed in. Again, it's basically, if you guys want to help out, we've got a section on that here. You just get some basic information like what's your home state, gamer tag, what's your Discord ID, what's your Twitch ID. We are going to stream every game, if at all possible. So, yeah, we need that. That's one of the things with Select Talent. We are trying to be like the ultimate coaching sim. We could run these games faster. We could probably run a game every other day, but we have them with the way our schedule is going to work. Basically, you've got 2 windows. You're going to have a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're going to probably auto finish that at midnight on the West Coast on Tuesdays, so that puts it like 3 a.m. Eastern time, and then that'll roll in. We have them. Wednesdays are just an off day because we're planning something special for everyone here. We'll get to that here in a bit, but then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are another window for another week. So basically, the idea is you'll have 3 days to do all your recruiting. You can join the Discord and you can meet up with the other coach that you have for the season. I mean, I can see people already having these games scheduled out a ways, but that's how that's going to go as far as the schedule goes. And then just get some basic information. Some of these are just poll questions to get a read for the league and see what everyone's expectations are, because we don't even have the game out yet, but we do have some information. We try to incorporate that as much as possible. We're trying to, if you have an idea of what your offense is going to be, your defense, what you're looking at there, then you get to, that's all for Section 1. Section 2 is where we start getting into some interesting select talent differences. So, as I mentioned with our coaching carousel, to keep that from just being an absolute massive pain, we have rules and limits. So one of the big limits is, let's say that Michigan did finish first and they have the opportunity to take another school. They would be +6 after that championship bonus, but they could only take a school from Section 2 of their application. So we're looking at, we have basically your one pick per conference. The way select talent's going to work, you have 16 conferences. It actually works out really well for the game. Basically, going back here, every two conferences are going to be won in the conference that you're not a part of. So if it's in a different dynasty, then this is a conference and this is a conference.
Someone asked if there's any way they can make a donation to us.
We'll be happy. Well, we don't know, but we absolutely will find a way. Because actually we put in a little bit of real money into this, but we'll just see where it goes. Hopefully,
Honestly,
the league's going to
the
take off.
right,
So,
and like the biggest thing that we can ask is like make sure that we're giving love to everybody that's like streaming and like because it's all a collective thing. It's also like talent.
yeah,
Really,
like
where we compete anyways.
you guys don't see the behind the scenes. Like we're looking for people to help out with Xbox too. Like we really just need people that are going to watch games and actually coach because that's what this is for. We were going to have it where we have links to every game. We want you to be able to scout your opponent. Like we want this to be the ultimate coaching simulator for college football 25. Like bar none. Like that is a high mark we're setting for ourselves,
Right.
but it's achievable. Do not expect this to be like a comp Madden league. This is going to be far nastier than that. We are expect wear and tear. It's going to be on. If there's a slider and people are cheesing, we're going to turn it up, and we're going to have recruiting up high because we do have a possibility of moving conferences, so that's not going to be uneasy. There's going to be nothing given to you here in Select Talent. You're going to earn everything you do on the field, off the field. You got to earn it, boys and girls. With that,
Go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. No, you don't have to talk. I can go on for days.
No, so the one thing that I was thinking about while we were sitting here, and like, I think it would be probably pretty imperative to maybe have like a weekly checklist for like what if you're a coach, where you should be at like during
Oh,
like you should have the time in for your game by this day. You should have like like you should have like whatever you need to have in like your Twitch, all that. I feel like some coaches might do better with a weekly checklist because to someone that has never been in a dynasty or hasn't coached or done a lot of dynasty stuff like offline or whatever the case is,
no, that's
they
a good
might
point.
be a little overwhelmed with having to do like all the Twitch stuff. And like I get it, it's a lot, but that's the point. But if they have a weekly checklist, it might be able to keep things just better in track.
Yep, and we can make that. We'll go ahead. We'll put that up on our checklist. We have an internal checklist as well. We're trying to knock
Checklist
off
on the
a
checklist. That's great.
yeah
That sounds fantastic.
checklist for the checklist in the checklist
For the
get,
checklist.
gets added to the checklist. Hey, I'm a pilot. That's what I do. It's all about checklists. I'm all for it. But going back again, you select each one of these schools. You just pick one, and then you move on. Pick one. Again, some of these conferences, you may have a favorite. You may not know anyone in that conference. Like you could get down if you're not a true diehard. You may not know how much about Florida Atlantic, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Old Dominion, UConn, Charlotte, UMass, Kennesaw, FIU, or Temple. That's just again, pick one. You never know. You may wind up wanting a challenge. Somebody in D1, I could see somebody even succeeding in D1 and saying, nope, I don't want to do that no more because D1 looks tough. Um, then we go down to just a couple of gameplay questions. Again, the coaching carousel, it's going to be set at this one. We can almost take that question off, make it easier for guys. And then again, we just want to check the days you're available. Really, that's a carryover from what we were doing with the PlayStation. We realized that 90% of everyone is open on Saturday and Sunday. Again, that's not everybody. We don't know We just want to get the most. We basically wanted to split those up to give an average. So if anyone does have trouble getting into it or reaching out to a coach, first thing, anybody on PlayStation, you got to be able to take messages from other people. Yeah, the last, we're going to try to set everything up on Discord, but you really need to have those settings open
I
for
get the
people
whole
to
private,
communicate with
right?
you. But
I get the whole privacy thing.
yeah,
Like,
you got to
and
be
it's
able to flip
that,
that on, boys.
yeah, you can't.
We
Just
can't not communicate because
and
again
Xbox
we it
and
would be fine if we only had 32 people in a dynasty. We just pick a time and show up. But with 134 people, we may need to reach out to you, especially if we're getting to the playoffs and that sort of situation. When we get to after season one and we have the coaching carousel really kick off, and we're going to be able to track the coaching carousel, by the way. That last 2 weeks, week 14 and 15 of the regular season, whoa, Nelly. That's going to be a very interesting time for everyone. Again, with these conferences, you're only concerned about the conferences in your dynasty. To be perfectly honest, everything else that happens is superficial. We're only going off of the coaching carousel. Even your non-conference games aren't really there for anything else other than practice against similar level opponents.
hmm
It's all about what happens within your conference because that's the way we can make sure we're comparing apples to apples. So, again, win those games, but with only having 7 conference games, the difference between going 3-4 and 4-3 may kick out 2 or 3 coaches. Just gonna say that now. Like it may save your season. It may set some. Look at Auburn versus Alabama. Iron Bowl could absolutely move one team up and get a coach fired. Very
Right.
easy. It's
I
gonna
think
be brutal.
Yeah, I think the carousel, along with, I'm not sure if it's still in play, and if you want to talk about it, the relegation and
Yep.
promotion situation.
Well, relegation and promotion is more based on the coach's choice. We've pretty
Okay.
much given that up to the
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 carousel,
winning
it's
coach.
okay.
The no see that we have the coaching carousel is split between that and promotion and relegation. Promotion and relegation is a different beast altogether. Let me get to talk about that before we get into finishing up how we're going to select the teams for Xbox. So let's just look at Division Two. It's going to load up here. I think I'm ahead of the stream a bit,
hmm
but it'll load up Kentucky and Indiana. Looking at here at Division Two. Let's say these are the final standings. Kentucky wins. They have one option. They can go ahead and they've earned their right to play in D1. If you win any of the conferences D2, D3, or or the group of 4, if you win your conference, you have the opportunity to go up the ladder. So if you go up the ladder, you are going to be exempt from the coaching carousel for one season, and your team is also exempt from dropping a division. Again, you have the option to stay. If you win 2 straight, because we really only expect to play about 5 to 6 seasons, just running with the math. If we're able to run 15, if it's a 15-week regular season, 16 if you count 0 week, that's basically 2 months with our schedule, playing 2 games a week. So then the any playoffs scenarios are going to probably take another week. They're going to expect another week for the off season. So we're really only looking at 4 to 5. But if you win 2 straight, we're going to automatically move you. With that, you are not. Basically, what we would do is your team stays there. So let's say South Carolina wins their conference 2 seasons straight. They want to stay the first season, win the second season too. They're going to be moved up. So one of the least remaining eligible teams, which would be in rank 7 or 8, possibly rank 6. You could have a team move down and just still be terrible, but they would be exempt from that first season of promotion relegation. because if we have to move you into a completely different dynasty. We are going to have to remove one coach and then add in the other, and then add that coach into where he winds up. Generally, we expect that you might be on the opposite end of the coaching carousel if your team does get demoted. But there's a very real possibility, like if Indiana here were to lose, it winds up like this, and Indiana was the weakest of these, and only South Carolina moved up, then they would drop down. That's done by our select talent committee. We have a group of 15 people behind the scenes that would basically think of it like the playoff committee, where we would look at each team, see how they played against each other, and another kicker: all of the teams here are guaranteed non-conference. So when you're looking at this, it also will give you an idea of the schedule matrix. You play everybody in your bracket here, and then if it's Indiana, you're playing the teams that are across from you as well. So that's not what I wanted to do. So you get Indiana, Wake Forest, Washington State, and Tulane are all going to play each other in 3 non-conference games apiece. So that gives everyone 10. You can still schedule 2 other games for your non-conference, because we realized that it would be absolutely brutal if we had the top 32 teams playing each other. It basically looked like the NFL and D1. We wanted to give them an opportunity to at least get a break. And any questions on that? Or did I explain that well enough?
I'm pretty sure I understood it, but we do have a couple questions from chat.
I was gonna say we got some chat.
Oh,
questions.
Go ahead. Let's fire them off.
Someone
So the first question. Oh, you got it. You got it, Bryce.
Someone's asked if they're allowed to run multiple offensive defenses.
I mean, we're good.
I feel like if we're going for the sim style, you
Yeah.
could potentially change it from season to season depending on what happens. But the point is that you have your own coaching style at that university.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you have to stick with whatever. If you're at Michigan, you don't got to run Michigan's offense, but you should run your offense, and it shouldn't alter every week.
Yeah, and you're gonna
system.
Yeah, and you're gonna get that in the questionnaire. Basically, once the game comes out and we have a lot better, and once we get hands on, within the first 3 days, expect another email to come out to everyone who's signed up and everyone who has a team. With that, you're basically, think of it like a radio show. We're going to give everyone the same sort of questions. You just got to answer them. So what's your offensive philosophy? Name your playbook for the year. So we know there's going to be custom playbooks.
I don't think custom playbooks are going to be the vibe.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to work. I know myself, I've got an idea of how I want to do mine. It would be just throwing plays out of my playbook. I think that would be more beneficial. But
that's what I was going to say. It would be like, in an ideal world, you would be able just to subtract and add plays. Like, I don't think taking a couple plays out and practicing some new plays during the week in practice and implementing them, I don't think that's crazy. And if that is allowed, I think that might be a way that we can maybe let people have a little bit more control over their playbook and not have to be pigeonholed until next year. But beyond that, I don't think custom playbooks should be a thing, and you should have to kind of pick what kind of offensive style you're going to run for the year. Sure.
Right, and it's one of those things that it's hard to monitor. And if we say custom playbooks are allowed, if there happens to be there's going to be plays that are glitchy, it's gonna. I mean, in Madden it's the same way. You got to start telling people you can't use these plays, and monitoring 134 playbooks. That's just impossible.
Yeah,
there's no way.
So if
you are cut it off.
If you're Oklahoma and we see you coming out in the flex bone, we're gonna have questions.
Right.
And we're streaming every game. Like, you're gonna see your setup when you go. Like, you can't even try. Don't try to hide anything. You're gonna have a whole lot of eyes on everybody. Again, we're gonna be streaming every game. We have an idea. You may even have a Select Talent logo on your field every time you play. So we'll that one we'll just have to start there. But again, if we can, that's fine. But that's where we're going to start. Is just go ahead and declare your offense and defense. We're going to give everybody like a couple of days. Like we're going to send that email out on release. So commenting the game early. We'll try to get that quick fired off to everybody. Or at least make the form available in our Discord. That's probably how we would do it, as opposed to having to email 100,
Right.
268 people. But you get the general ideas. Just go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll have other questions. Like just basically, we have several real coaches here. High school. We know we have a couple of college GAs. Um, we got someone associated with the University of Georgia. I'm very interested to speak with you. We may have to get you on the show next week. Um, but
We got another question.
yeah,
If you want to fire onto that one.
yeah,
So,
let's follow up.
someone asked, is there going to be a site/hub where we can go to track all of it? I'm guessing he's talking about records and
Yes,
stats and all
And
that kind of
yards,
stuff.
all that, right?
stats, yards.
Yeah, yep.
We have a plan in place for that. Um, we're not
Have you
sure
decided,
because we're able to do most of that in the dynasty. Since we've got basically everyone you need to worry about that you would play is going to be in your dynasty. We may slack off of that one a bit and just update that one as we go.
Right.
But as for like historical records, yes, everyone's going to be given a link once we get rolling to a Google Drive. So if you don't have a Google account, you need to do that. Just straight up, that's kind of a necessity. That's where you're going to find
Actually,
that.
I can add something to that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I was messaging you, Matt. I don't know if any of you guys have played Madden. There's an app called Neon Sports.
Oh, I have not.
And that
had
app
just that.
basically, yeah. So I would look into that just because they had talked about using it for college football. But basically, it's an app where it syncs with your Madden leagues, and you can pull stats, rosters, records, all of that instantly on the Neon Sports app. And so that's something that might take to season 2, just because I'm guessing the framework for the app is going to be a little bit.
All right,
when
and
the game comes out.
so stuff like that, Gerald. If there- anything like, if you're still looking for donations, that's something we could take. Does anything we have to pay? We don't have a budget at the moment, so we're just doing this for the love of the game. But that it would definitely help us out and make that smoother. I also saw someone asked how long are the quarters going to be. That is going to be in flux. We need to know
Yep.
how wear and tear actually
What
works.
gameplay's like.
But
Yeah.
generally speaking, expect it to not be nice. Expect 8 minutes to start. 8 minute quarters to start, and if it gets, if people are still trying to, if we see any cheesers, that may go up to 10. Not gonna lie,
I think with wear and tear, honestly, just thinking about it now, with Division 1, Division 2, we might have to flux
nope,
between divisions. How long? I don't know.
Nope.
Maybe.
nope.
I don't know.
Everyone to the same standards. That's a PlayStation and Xbox. We're gonna have one set of settings. We're going to be testing the snot out of that early. Getting a couple of guys together. If anyone does get the game early, feel free to jump in Discord, and we maybe
Yeah,
a little bit of sparring. I know I'm going to try. Most of my stuff's going to be offline.
I definitely saw quite a few people talk about spring games for select talent, which I think is a really cool idea. I think we can maybe do 2-3 games in a day, like if we wanted to, and like me and you, I could do like the first game.
Bryson, we are at 100. Bryce, we are 100% going to do this. we're gonna.
I think spring games would be like an amazing idea.
Yeah, and then we need that feedback. We don't necessarily need you to broadcast those, but we need, box score, put those up. Put those up. Anytime you play somebody in select talent, we need to see it so we can start in.
There's clips and highlights.
Yep.
Like thing right in the Discord. And if you haven't gotten to the Discord yet, please get at me, get at Tex, get at Brendan, get at Juice as well in there, so they can all invite you. And so we just need to get people filed in there and get it organized is the biggest thing.
But yeah, no, it 100% is going to be the same across the board. So if you're at a smaller school, Recruit deep. That's all I can say. You got 85. I think you got 85 roster spots. You better know who your fourth string running back is.
Have
Just
17 quarterbacks. Just
man, if you are, it's all gonna come down to how you manage your team. Like this is the people who know how to set it up and know how to the micromanagers are gonna get a little bit of a boost. Again, it's gonna be. I'm gonna love to just see how season one goes because I know we got some great coaching minds. We got some great skill guys. I want to see where that meets. Like, we know there's great skill and coach, skill and scheme guys. You're gonna have bad stick and skill guys. Those are. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out because no one's played the game in 11 years. I know Madden is gonna be. It's the same, but it's not the same. We'll figure that out. But I do want to get to how we're going to select the teams for Xbox. So, anyone who hasn't signed up in Xbox, by all means, this. Oh wait, what is that? There needs to be a limit to.
He asked if you have to move up or can we stay, and I said, yeah, there is a limit for how long you can stay at a lower school if you keep winning.
Yeah, if you win back to backs, again, we only have 5 seasons in 25. So if you win back to backs, the goal is you're going to move up. If you win 3 out of 4, you're going to move up.
Right, and the point of that is honestly what will happen is throughout a couple seasons, our better users will kind of slide up, and the ones that are not as good will slide down, and the competition will start to even out. But when you start, everyone just kind of got randomly selected, so you're going to have someone dominating at D4, and we don't want. I mean, it's not real life for somebody like that to just keep winning at that same level with their competition, and so we want to make it fun for everybody. But also have some realism, so we're allowing you to slide up, but you can't abuse that and just stay at D4 at FIU and run down there for.
I mean,
4 years.
after I win my conference 2 years in a row at SMU, I'm coming ACC. After that, I'm
A lot
gonna
of
have to
confidence
move up.
over there.
I'm gonna move up after that. I already know. I'm not gonna have a choice. But
They're gonna be
yes.
sticky.
Oh, my coach is probably named Art Briles. I'm just gonna say that now. You can take that information what you wish in Boston. I hope you can meet us up here. But so the way we have this set up is we are asking because this is something we failed. Again, we're learning as much as you guys are. We learned that we had a D1 wide receiver in our PlayStation group, Omar Manning from Nebraska. So we want to make sure that we're checking on that this time. So we do added a question for Xbox players if they were in fact a D1 player, coach, grad assistant.
ended up dropping, right?
I do believe so, but we're trying to get Omar back. I think I want to play against him myself. I think I would have Nebraska actually, but and then just if you answered yes to that question, you're fine. So what we do here is we ask you your top 5 schools. This is important. So when we're going to have all 134 players in a name wheel, and we're going to basically pull a name out of the hat. So the first 5 coaches that get called, you're guaranteed to get one of these 5 schools, one of your first 5 choices. After that, it's going to be a little bit interesting. So after that, we have everyone go through and list basically go through each conference and rank the teams where they would take them 1 through 8. We do this all the way down for each conference from D1 down to the group of 4. With that, how this is going to work. If your name gets called, let's say number 10, and all of your top 5 choices are already gone, you're going to go into a second wheel, which is just going to pick one out of these 16 conferences. And then you would get the highest rated one that is still available on the board. If that conference is filled up, then we'll respin. We'll probably clear that one off and then respin. But that's how that's going to work. So it's really random. Again, we're giving you, it's the best of both options. For PlayStation, we had everyone going through and had a survey company helped us out, and that was still a bear to rank all teams 1 through 134. A lot of people didn't do it. We saw your results, guys. You can't lie. We saw the numbers, and a lot of people just they picked about the first 20 and then said, "Nah, I'm done." So this way we broke it down. So you'll get basically something, hopefully, that you're looking for. We don't have an exclude list, and we would take trades until the ratings go out. We will run this selection show as soon as we get 134 people into the league. We are currently sitting a little below that. You can see that little low number here. But we are going to go ahead. We're going to get some videos out for you guys and try to get that filled in. But do we have any other questions from you, anyone here or out in the group? I know that we've talked a lot.
I think we've answered everything. I got the channel set up for the Twitch links, so if you have your Twitch link.
Do we have anyone check questions in Facebook?
My phone's dead at the moment.
I can go check.
Thank you.
Check. I'll pull that up too.
I made sure to if you're in Xbox, this is the one you want to go to when you posted the link after you posted it in the chat. Crazy how many scammers you get in there. There's barely 1,000 people in there, and there's so many people. Just what are we doing here, bro? Some name Asamasalenka in the middle of Pakistan. Why are you in this chat, bro?
Right.
All right. Well, I don't see any here. Let's see. Let's go to the events. Well, I don't really see any other questions there. But if you guys do have anything else come up, we are waiting on the next big thing, which would be that Dynasty deep dive.
Which I think is coming this week. I've seen a couple sources, and it seems like that's hopefully it's going to happen.
Well, other than that, what are you guys? What are your expectations for this year? What are you thinking? What's gonna?
Fucking chaos. Oh, I said it out loud.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Oh, there's gonna be chaos.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of learning for everyone.
I think it'll be a lot of fun too. I personally, outside, I love playing the game. I love football, but I personally, I've said this 100 times. I want to deal with building the brand and trying to get this as big and become the college sim standard, kind of.
If we start getting if we get another 120 people on the wait list, we have another idea. But that's coming down the road.
Yeah, keep that one in the back pocket.
Yeah, that one's close to the vest, but we have plans. We can't get too big. That's going to be a thing. We just can't get too big. We just want people to play every twice a week and just be active, because you're going to see that's the one thing we didn't talk about that we were going to cycle back to. We have a highlight show coming. The STN, the Select Talent Network. We are going to highlight at least one game per division for every week. So on our highlight show, you're looking at 8 games that we're going to cover.
Highlights, player spotlights, maybe even some attempts to maybe even not a live interview, but maybe a couple clips or a couple excerpts from the coaches, what they thought about each other's play styles, if they want to talk shit, whatever the case may be.
Top 10 plays, we're going to need you guys to send those in. And then that's pretty much where we're looking at that. We can do as much or as little if anyone wants to help out with that. Anyone with experience in cutting up and doing video work, let us know, because we will be happy to spread the load across, because we would rather just get out a quality product. And again, we think that's going to set us apart as well. When you've got, a lot of these dynasties, you're going to see teams that, dynasties, in here that are going to be like all top teams. You're going to have all bottom teams. You're going to have teams that are all created. But with us, it's going to be different because what happens in a game between Tulsa and Fresno State at the end of the year could wind up changing what happens at Washington State, and that could have a trickle down to what happens. It gives Tulane a reprieve. They get another year in, and they recruit somebody. I'm really interested to see how the recruiting's going to work.
And I think the group of four, unless you're in that division, I think you're gonna have to be on your toes. I don't think you have much of a choice, like because there are so many different outcomes that could affect you moving up or moving down
You got
beyond you just winning a last game.
you got 134 people with 134 different ways of views. So if you have a division and a number beside it, somebody's looking for you. I feel really bad after just taking a little peek. I feel really bad for whoever has Oregon. Oregon and Colorado. Those are they have a big old target. I'm just going to say that. The bigger the school, the more people want to be at the school. The
Oh
smaller
man,
smaller
if
schools, you might be able to run that dynasty for a bit, but it's going to be just as cutthroat.
we could annex Colorado, I think I would be happier, but that's just me.
Well, the other thing
Fucking
is
shit.
we do have a couple of interesting things that we're going to do. We have I don't know if I have this up, but we have partnered with a couple of businesses that are going to help us out do something absolutely unique. So the reason we are playing these games, and one thing I really hope that EA does, is it lets us set the automatic bids. I really hope we can set the playoffs to 4 teams and set the automatic bid to conferences within those 4 conferences. Much like you could with setting the bowl games for in 14. If they give us that power, we're going to have three champions, and the group of 4, we they're going to be in 2 different dynasties. That's the only one that's going to be tough to actually determine a winner. But hopefully we have 3 different championships that are going to run. If else, we're definitely going to have those running through the game, and the winners, at least for D1, D2, and D3, are going to get a jersey. That's more incentive for people in the group of 4 to just go ahead, bypass it, and move up fast. If I'm a group of 4 school, I'm out of that bracket as quick as I can. I want to get a shot. So look out, Bimble. They're coming for you.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, everyone's got a target. Like everyone's somebody
Kiss my
else's target.
candy ass. Stay down there if I want to. Nah.
I mean, I could see somebody trying to game the system a little bit, but it would be, again, that's why we don't have a championship for the group of 4. The way it worked out, we had to split something up. 4 conferences with 8 players works out perfect for most cases, but we did have the remainder, and we couldn't just I didn't want to do one conference with 32 people and then have 6 left over.
Right.
That didn't sound like that was going to be fun for anybody. So
I think
the way
this way, man, I think it allows everyone to really be at their necks and like connected and like actually have some sort of competition. I think with the carousel and the way that we decided to set up the divisions, I think it was probably, and like I don't you don't want to sound egotistical, but like I think it was probably the only and probably the best way to get everybody on the same level playing field.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And 10 games against users is still nothing to joke at. Gives
Right.
you a little bit of flexibility. Like if your rivals aren't in there, like with mine, I'm going after the AI, North Texas and Rice. Like that's going to have to come into your thought decisions too, because that may be coming down to coach points, and coach points are going to matter. We're not being nice on that either. You're probably going to start on the lower end. No one's going to have a great coach starting off either. So all of these teams, It's you're the coach. We want to keep that balance too. So everyone's gonna we'll pick we'll come up with a number pretty much between the just going off of feedback, but expect it to be relatively low. Expect it to have to earn it, but also
Perfect,
expect to
man.
have to earn it over 5 seasons, which is another again. So it may be accelerated a little bit, but everyone's going to start off the same.
Pretty much
So
wraps
sorry
up, huh?
if I missed it, but we. Okay, if you're getting a team, Scott, you sound familiar. I think
Yeah.
if you submitted your picks, I think so far for PlayStation, you're going to be good. If you didn't submit your picks, again, PlayStation, send us a list 1 through 134 to start. We're going to merge the way we did Xbox because it's just going to be a random draw. So we're going to do a random draw for the people who are on the wait list to see who would get a team, and then from there we would do a random draw for the order as well. We could probably do that at the same time. But no one here gets to pick a team. Sorry, that's not how this works. We only did that twice. The only exception may be Georgia in Xbox, and Marshall in Xbox. Omar Bradley, or Omar Manning, he has the option to come back at Nebraska, and then we gave one of our coaches for Texas State on the PlayStation side. His son is in the game over as over at Texas State, the Bobcats. So we wanted to make sure we got him there too. So Scott, you're good. No worries. Just again, slow motion
Yeah.
on our end. We got big things that are happening this week, and we're just gonna keep plugging away, knocking off our checklist. And I hope you guys have a great day. Anybody else? Any final thoughts?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you guys
Yeah,
watching,
just
and
All
we'll see you
right.
on the next one, man. Right?
yeah, just be active and be excited. Get your
Yeah.
friends
Oh
in.
man, it's
Tell
gonna
them
be
about
fun.
this.
It's gonna be a lot of fun,
It's
guys.
gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys.
Like it's one thing to play against the computer. It's one thing to just play against random people you don't know. But again, our goal is to make this where, oh man, I've
It's
seen
gonna
these
be
guys.
elbow to elbow, man.
I see you coach against somebody in the same conference for 3 seasons. By the fourth one, you're gonna know who they are,
Yep.
and everyone has their own personality. It's gonna be fun to watch. But I hope you guys have a great night.